Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be providing a long-term market analysis update for Vechain. We're going to talk about some very key moving averages that have been acting as resistance, some other key levels to keep an eye on. We're going to do this on the daily and the weekly chart, and then we're also going to be looking at the Vechain Bitcoin ratio and Vechain's performance with respect to Bitcoin, and look at this level's own moving averages and support and resistance zones. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, by the way, I will leave a link to my Twitter page in the description below. Feel free to go ahead and check that out. I'm fairly active over there as well. So with Vechain, I really do want to start out by talking about this blue line, which is going to be the 200-day simple moving average. Today, it's coming in around 2.45 cents, which is obviously much further up than we are right now. But notice how this was a level of resistance. We actually rejected off this moving average right here at the beginning of November, all the way up at this valuation around 2.8 cents. So you can see that rejection quite clearly. We had this big surge up right into that zone. And then from this point, Vechain had a very sharp move coming back down and breaking below the support, the previous lows from back here in June, right around 2.1 cents. So this is going to be a very key level to watch out for. And if I just zoom out here to get a little bit better of a perspective, this moving average has been averaging down for quite a significant period of time. So we could definitely retest it at some lower valuations. And if I were to just extend out its current rate of change, you could see we could be retesting it much lower than it is today in just a few months. So definitely pay attention to that level and do consider it to be strong resistance until proven otherwise. And beyond that rejection that we had back here in November, Vechain actually had two more rejections throughout this bear market, first being in December of 2021, and then this next move right here in March. So three very sharp moves coming off the 200-day average, rolling over to form lower lows. So if we do get that fourth retest, look for how Vechain starts to react off that level, and breaking above that would be a very bullish sign that we can look to for some sort of longer term momentum and trend shift. So I also do want to talk about the weekly chart, and with this, what we've got going on is these two weekly moving averages, and we got these as resistance, right? We have basically four rejections off of these levels throughout this entire bear market. And if I just zoom in here to each of these rejections, you can see that we had this first rejection right here in December of 2021, very similar to the 200-day average at that point, and then again right here in March. Now this one was a little bit different of a rejection. We actually did have a weekly candle close above this, but ultimately the next following week we came right back under it, and then we did form this deviation. And you can see on the next few candles, we remained below this, and this was where sellers started to enter their supply, and we eventually started to form lower lows rolling over from there. Now beyond that, we also had this move right here in August, again coming up to these moving averages on the weekly chart, rejecting off of it, and then that move that we just had right here in November. So very similar rejections to the 200-day average, and with these today they range from 2.3 all the way up to 2.5 cents. So that is the line in the sand, more or less, that Vechain really does need to break back above and reclaim for the longer term trend to start to look a little bit more bullish. Now beyond that, it is also very important that Vechain can reclaim some of these previous areas of support going back here to these June, July, and August lows, because as long as we remain below this, there is a very likely and realistic scenario in which these start to flip into resistance. So if we do start to reject off of this previous zones of support, then from there, we're going to really have to watch out for what's further down from here as our longer term support. And if I just zoom out here, the next regions that we can look to are these levels from back here in 2019 and 2020, right around that 0.8 to 0.9 cent region. So if we do remain below this and we continue to consolidate under the previous areas of support, then I would expect a longer term trend continuation of this bear market that ultimately does take us down to that zone. And the reason is because between this level that we just lost, the support at 2 cents ranging up to 2.2 cents, and the next level, there really isn't much support in between these two levels. The historical moves for Vechain between this level of support from 0.8 to 0.9 cents and the next level that we just lost typically have been very inefficient. And what I mean by that is on any move for Vechain between these two zones, they tend to be very sharp and quick moves. So when we first lost this level right around 2 cents back here in July of 2018, Vechain dropped down to the next region in just 2 weeks by 58%. And then from that point, it bounced right back up in the next 3 to 4 weeks, 136%. So when you have such quick and abrupt moves, you really don't establish much support in between these zones. And you can see that same thing played out right here in 2020. This rally took us up by about 167% in just 1 to 2 weeks. And then that decline was also pretty quick, taking us back down about 58-60%. So there's really not much price action in between these two zones, not much support. And that is the reason that if we remain below this and we continue to consolidate under the previous lows from back here in June, then I'm really going to start to look out to this as our next longer term target. Not saying this has to happen, but if we continue to have this bearish consolidation, that is what I will be watching out for. So lastly, I do want to talk about the Vechain Bitcoin ratio. With this, I do want to focus on the 50-week simple moving average. That is going to be this yellow line. And what I want to focus on is the fact that this has been a flip of support right here in October of 2021, right into resistance on this rejection that we had on that same rally that we had in November. So if we do have another retest of this, look to see if Vechain can start to break out above this massive resistance on the Bitcoin ratio pair, and if Vechain can start to have some outperformance with respect to Bitcoin, which would be a great sign, and that's something I'm going to be watching out for because I do like to see altcoins outperforming Bitcoin. They tend to take on those higher risks. So if we can get some outperformance, that really does start to justify those risks. We also have seen a break of this general downward sloping trend line. That is the level in which we have had all of these lower highs formed off of. So that is promising to see, but I really do want to see some follow through at this point where we start to make some higher highs and higher lows, forming some sort of new uptrend as opposed to this very dominant downtrend beginning back here in April of 2021. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, make sure to check out my Twitter page. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.